a tree in the middle of the road.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
Welcome back to another recap video. I'm going to be breaking down the ending of episode 3, how Jade possibly released a badder, more terrifying monster, how Victor's story is the key to going back home, and lastly, the fate of Fatima's baby. So starting off with Tabitha, the episode ends with her in the ambulance heading back to the hospital, but is stopped by an all too familiar tree. This suggests that she's back in Fromville. This surprising scene brings up two questions. How did she get back into town, and why is she back in town, right? As for how she got back in town, we don't really know. She discovered in Victor's dad's glove compartment that he had a similar bracelet as to the one that she made for Jim, and Victor's dad says that it's Miranda who made him the bracelet. There's a possibility that the bracelet could act as a talisman, and instead of, warding off the monsters, instead it can help people go into town as well. As to why she's back in town, there are several possible reasons why she could be back in town. The main reason why Tabitha is back in the town is to save the children. Now that she's aware that she is one of the chosen one, the town has taken her back in to try and complete that prophecy. Secondly, I think another reason she could be back in town is because of the bottle tree. Early in the episode, when she's in Victor's dad's kitchen, she hears the chiming of the bottles in the tree in the backyard. So Victor's dad takes her out to see the tree, and she recognizes the tree, that it's similar to a tree that they have back in Fromville. Victor's dad tells her that it's not the original tree, and that the original one that Miranda made was in a park somewhere far away. And they're basically on their way to go and find this tree, and that's when the crash occurs. A part of me thinks that what Tabitha is supposed to do is go to the tree in the forest, because the only time we really saw that tree was when Boyd was in the forest, and I remember he picked a bottle from the tree and he took a note out of it. It had something written in it from I don't know what year. The mom also made that bottle tree within the forest, and maybe with it she left some instructions on how to go and save the children. Part of why Tabitha is back in town is to find that tree within the forest, which can help us save the children. So Victor's dad could play a role in helping her with further information and trying to find the children. And also I think another important aspect is Victor himself. One thing that we noticed with Victor is that he blocks off a lot of his memories. So I think Victor's dad being present could trigger Victor to remember some other memories about his mom, maybe before she came into Fromville, and that information could help them save the children and maybe even possibly go home. Another thing I want to note is there are certain parallels that the producers are drawing, and I want to point them out because I think they could be very important to this story. So first of all, the first parallel that I want to draw is the parallel of families. There are two families which are very similar to each other. One is Victor's family, the other one is Tabitha's family. Victor's family comprises of his mom, his dad, his sister, and himself, while Tabitha's family is the same. It's two parents with two children, a boy and a girl. Other similarities are between Victor's mom and Tabitha. Both of them were chosen to save the children. Both of them made their husbands bracelets, and both of them ended up in From after realizing they were the chosen one. Secondly, there's similarities between Ethan and Victor. Both of them saw the boy in white in their childhoods, and both of them have gone through traumatic events. So Victor's mom died. That was very traumatic for him. That's why you find him trying to suppress so many of his memories. While Ethan, on the other hand, his traumatic event was now the disappearance and possible death of Tabitha. And as we know, she's not dead. So far, we haven't gotten to see any parallels between Victor and Jim or Eloise and Julie. Eloise, because she could either be dead or just lost somewhere in Fromworld. Now that Victor's dad is in town, maybe we might get to see those similarities between Jim and and Victor's dad. Okay, the other parallel I want to draw is between Jade and Christopher. I hope that's his name. The other guy who also used to see the same symbols as Jade. Okay, one important thing that we need to remember about this show, different generations of people have tried to save the children, and each generation has failed, and that's why each time the town keeps on getting someone to be the chosen person to save the children, but they end up dying. So we're basically going to find out what it is that prevents these people from saving the children, and this time around I think it's going to be set off by Jade, but I'll explain more in the video. Why is Victor the key to going home? So this show reinforces the fact that there's a recurrence of events that keeps on occurring. First recurrence that we see in season 1 is that 2 cars showed up to town. And the last time 2 cars showed up to town, Victor said bad things happened. We also have the recurrence of a chosen one, the recurrence of someone seeing symbols, and there is a foreshadowing of a massacre that is going to occur. This massacre also occurred when Victor was a young kid, and it's the massacre in which his mother was killed as well. The reason why Victor's story is key to the show is because he needs to remember the events that took place in the past. And if he remembers what happened in the past, then the townspeople could possibly try to prevent what happened in the past. Because remember, in the past, there was a massacre, meaning a massacre is most likely to recur again. And in that massacre, Victor's moms died. And Victor's mom was the chosen one, meaning it's very likely that Tabitha is also going to die unless Victor remembers. Why is Jade the reason the massacre occurs? In episode 3, we have Jade running away back to town because he had seen some scary stuff, and Christy tries to follow him. In the process, she steps on a bear trap and it basically entraps her leg. Jade takes a metal pole from those voodoo-looking statues and tries to help free Christy's leg. These voodoo statues are most likely acting as some kind of protective barrier, and I think just like the talismans that help to keep the monsters out at night, I think those voodoo statues are something that are trying to keep some kind of monster away from either the town or just from being released. So by Jade knocking down one of the statues, I think he's released some kind of a monster. Okay, and even if it's not through dropping the statues, I think the reason why Jade is likely the reason to be the cause of the massacre is because, one, remember we mentioned earlier, he has so many similarities with Christopher, and it was said that Christopher was a bad man. Unintentionally, Jade will become the villain of this show. The fate of Fatima's baby. So it's clear that the town wants her to have this baby. It's been providing sustenance for the baby via the rotten food that it's provided for Fatima to eat. But the town, it doesn't want information to be revealed about the baby. And that's why I think the crow burst into the window when she was about to pick the card. Tilly's cards would have revealed something that the town doesn't want them to know.
Hey, let's just walk right past the scary voodoo tower and go sort some veggies.
Please drop down your theories of this episode and stay tuned for future videos. Bye!